The internet is abound with rumors that the next few days could see the announcement of the much-hyped Jake Paul vs. Tommy Fury boxing fight. The fighters both appeared on the same card back in August, and it appears as though a matchup between the two is inevitable. Today we're discussing why we're so excited for this fight, plus other news from the world of boxing, so stay tuned. First up, what's being said so far? Tommy Fury has claimed that things are looking good, and I'm going to leave it up to my lawyers in regards to a potential fight with Paul. He continued, "I'll say that things are looking good, so stay tuned." Tyson Fury, Tommy's brother and WBC heavyweight champ, said, "If Tommy can't splatter Jake Paul, I'll retire him from boxing myself." We would tend to agree with the big man, as Tommy boasts a much deeper record than former Disney star Paul. If he can't beat Jake Paul, forget about boxing, because he's got ambitions of being a world champion. Never mind beating some YouTube guy. Tommy, his name's Fury. If he can't beat Jake Paul, I'll have to change his name. No pressure then, Tommy. Just your own brother threatening to change your name for you. Jake Paul made reference to his love of betting, reminding us he likes to make bets. He said he's putting his money up right now. If Tommy wins, he'll give him $500,000. But if he loses, he has to change his name to Tommy Fumbles, which we reported on last week. Big stakes. Do you think Tommy should take the bet? Let us know below. So what has Tommy said since the initial exchange? Fury's been pretty vocal since the fight has been suggested, and has promised to end the career of the YouTube star turned boxer Jake Paul. For weeks, the two sides have been apart on the financial aspect of the fight, but a few days ago, the news broke that they were very close to reaching a deal with regards to the money. Things are looking up right now between that fight, Fury said last week, so hopefully we should get it closed in the next few weeks, so we'll see. Fury views the bout with Paul as an easy opportunity. "This is an easy fight for me, a real easy fight," Fury tells us. "I've been doing this job since I was 7. He's not a boxer. He's gonna see that when we fight. I will end his boxing career. There's no more Jake Paul after we fight, that's it." Outside of a big payday, Fury doesn't see any positives in dismantling Paul and providing his first career defeat. "Beating Jake Paul doesn't get me a world title shot," Fury said. "Doesn't get me any respect to any of the fighters, because everyone knows what the fighters think of him. All it is a good payday, an easy fight." Do you agree with Tommy's assessment that it would be an easy fight for him? Let us know how you see the fight playing out below. What has Jake said then? Yesterday, Jake came out and trolled pro boxer Fury by tweeting, "7-0 Fury doesn't cut it for my 5th fight. I'm fighting either Hector Lopez or Javier Martinez next." If you haven't heard of Hector Lopez or Javier Martinez, that's alright. All you need to know is that neither have very stellar records in the ring when compared to Fury. Paul said Hector was Tank's 8th opponent, came in 0-0 and retired 0-1. Hector was an MMAer, mixed martial artist, who was 2-0, Jake explained. Javier was Canelo's 10th opponent, entered the fight 0-0 and retired 0-1. We think he's probably just trying to wind Tommy up so the boxer comes in angry. What do you guys think? Next up, a UFC star accuses the YouTube brothers of orchestrating fights. The Paul brothers have been accused of orchestrating their fights by UFC heavyweight legend Alistair Overeem, who claims they'd never take a dangerous fight. Is he pining for a fight against one of the brothers for one final payday? Do we think? The YouTubers have both laced up the gloves on a number of occasions, with Logan facing Floyd Mayweather in an exhibition match while Jake is pushing for a career in the ring, most recently beating Tyron Woodley on points. It's also this week been mooted that Logan is preparing to face none other than Iron Mike Tyson. Come on! Surely even into his 50s, Tyson would be too much for Logan Paul. As we know, Jake's next bout is looking like it'll be against Manchester fighter Tommy Fury. That would present the American's biggest test by far against a fighter with a real boxing pedigree, and the quality of opponents he has faced so far hasn't worried Reem. A feared striker and ex-kickboxing champion himself, he could pose a big threat to the Paul brothers should their paths ever cross. Logan Paul, doesn't want any. He's doing good, he's going to do good business, but of course he is picking and choosing his guys, right? Small wrestler guys that don't really have boxing backgrounds, he said. He went on to claim that the Paul brothers would never cross over into MMA. We probably agree. Could you see their paths transition into the octagon? Tyson Fury is set for his return in a UK fight versus Dylan White or Joe Joyce, so don't go anywhere. Tyson is set to return to the ring in March of next year and will fight in the UK in his next bout, his co-promoter Bob Arum has claimed. Fury was victorious earlier this month in a one-sided destruction destruction of American Deontay Wilder in Las Vegas, retaining his WBC belt with a superb performance. However, plans for a unification of the whole division in 2022 against Anthony Joshua were scuppered after the Brits' defeat of Alexander Usyk in September, with a rematch between the pair now set to take place sometime next spring. Fury will therefore have to return to the ring to tackle somebody else, but his next fight still looks to be staged in his home country. And with the British fans understandably excited, surely the Fury vs. Usyk fight for some time next winter is on the cards, should the pair get through their next fights unscathed. Arum has confirmed that is the plan for Fury and named 2 potential opponents for a fight date in March 2022. If I had to guess, I'd say probably March. Dillian Whyte is not mandatory, and that's what the WBC hasn't done. He commented, Dillian Whyte has an obligation to fight Wallin, and we'll see. But again, in March, I'd like Tyson Fury to fight in the UK, and I'd think among the opponents would be Dillian Whyte or maybe his big English guy, Joe Joyce. A brutal Holyfield KO next. No, not Evander Holyfield Jr. Evan provided a big knockout over the weekend, a performance that Dad would have been proud of. The younger Holyfield landed a lovely left hook that froze his opponent, Charles Stanford, leaving him open to a big right hand that ended the junior middleweight bout and brought Holyfield's Atlanta fans to their feet. Only 2 of Holyfield's 8 career fights so far have made it past the 3rd round. What do you see as the best option for Holyfield Jr.'s next fight, and does he have what it takes to emulate his dad? Some Shakur Stevenson news now, so stay with us. American Stevenson, who delivered a fantastic performance with a 10th round stoppage of Jamal Herring over this past weekend, has commented on Oscar Valdez's apparently dodging him. Stevenson said of the Mexican that it's time to fight, and alluded to the fact that there's only really one fight left to make at the top of their division. He said that the 130-pound division needs unifying, and we couldn't agree more. How do you see this fight playing out? Should it be booked next? Let us know below. News from one of the all-time big boxing names next, so stay tuned. Grandson of Muhammad Ali, Nico Ali Walsh, was out again over the weekend for his 2nd professional fight. The 21-year-old won via 3rd round stoppage and looked pretty handy in the squared circle. It'll be interesting to see where his career goes from here, and how he is managed will be key. Any ideas who he should fight next? Let us know below. Some news from women's boxing next. Savannah Marshall has claimed she won't back down when she sees Clarissa Shields in the UK in December, as they are fighting on the same bill. The pair have been touted as a potential mega fight, and Marshall is no fan of Shields' confrontational style. Thankfully, they both compete in the same division, so a matchup is more than likely within the next year or so, which would be one of the biggest fights ever in women's boxing. Marshall remains the only boxer to ever beat Shields when they met in the amateurs in 2012. Since then, Shields has gone on to win Olympic gold and become a world champion in the pros. But this is the rematch everybody wants to see. Is redemption on the cards for Shields, or will Marshall prevail for the 2nd time? Let us know below. As always, big thanks for joining us today, and feel free to give us your own thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. Also, remember to tune in next time. Bye, guys.